Okay, so today, Act 1, Scene 3 analysis. It's going to be much easier and much quicker than most of the other two things we've done thus far. So, Act 1, Scene 3 opens up with the natural world reflecting the unrest of the state. And that is referring to the chaos created by Caesar and his new administration and the transition of power from Pompey to Caesar. And thus, it is symbolically reflected in the ongoing in Scene 3, which is the storm, the tempest as it's called, and the strange occurrences that Casca relates to Cicero. So Casca meets Cicero in the street at night in the storm, and Casca relates the following strange occurrences to Cicero. One, a common slave whose left hand is on fire but his flesh is unburned. So it means it's not consumed, his flesh isn't consumed, it's just normal. Number 2, by the Capitol, a line passes by Casca but does not bother him. So he just sees Casca but he doesn't bother or attack him, just keeps on going. 3, women tell Casca they saw men on fire walking up and down the street. And 4, a nocturnal bird, which is, a bird of the night, was hanging in the marketplace during the day. And so, Casca talks for a second about it, and he believes the gods are to blame for the storm and strange occurrences. It's either, he says, the gods are fighting amongst themselves or they're really upset with us. And Cicero says, when Casca asks him what his kind of take on it is, Cicero states that every man will interpret the omens in the same way. An omen is an event or some kind of occurrence that happens that isn't arbitrary, but rather it has special meaning attached to it. And Casca and Cassius both believe that they are omens and that these occurrences have a meaning attached to it. However, they have different interpretations, as you'll see. There's like a line from Casca to Cassius. But Cicero says that people will interpret them differently, and in the same scene we do see this happen. So then we move on to Cassius walks by after Cicero kind of says, I have bid Casca adieu. Cassius rolls up, and he senses a man in the street and asks who's there, to which Casca responds, a Roman. And Casca does this for 2 reasons. One, he means to invoke the ideal of a Roman guided by civic duty, which is what they are ideally doing in overthrowing Caesar, because they're wanting to continue the line of Roman republicanism, and not the way you think republicanism, but like that it is a republic and not a monarchy. And 2, to prove he is not up to no good. So if he says a Roman, he means I'm a Roman, but I'm not a vagrant or a thief or a murderer in the night. I'm a Roman. I'm just going about my business. And then Casca tells Cassius that he has a good ear, quote, a good ear. And this is your Shakespeare reminding the audience that though Cassius has a good ear, it reminds us that Caesar doesn't, because he's deaf in the left ear. And then if you go down, Cassius and Casca talk, and this is when we see Cassius' perspective on this, which is Cassius believes Caesar is the cause of the storm and the strange occurrences, and he believes that the storm and the strange occurrences are a sign that he can proceed in his plan to take out Caesar. So whereas Casca believes the gods are to blame, Cassius believes it's Caesar. Lastly, at the end of this, Cassius finally wins over Casca to join the conspirators. And so Casca officially joins the conspirators. And Cassius then reveals that Brutus, because they're talking about Brutus and how he has Brutus and why it's important. Cassius reveals that Brutus will allow the conspirators to A, get close to Caesar, and B, help calm the public in the aftermath, because Caesar is most popular with the citizens of Rome, and that was his greatest currency, or it's been his greatest currency as a powerful figure, that he has the public in his pocket. And by killing Caesar, it's going to upset the public greatly. However, Brutus is very well respected by the public as well. So if Cassius can completely win over Brutus, Brutus can just help calm the public in the aftermath and explain why. And we do see this in later on in the play. He does give a speech to the public, and then so does Mark Antony. We'll see what happens with that. And then Cassius, this is when Cinna rolls up, another C name in the conspirators group. And Cassius tells Cinna to place the forged letters to Brutus in A, Brutus's chair, B, Brutus's window, and C, old Brutus's statue. So we see that Cassius has another plan as well. So not only to kill Caesar, but also to trick Brutus into completely being invested in the conspiracy. And we'll see in Act 2 how these forged letters do kind of push Brutus to this the next place in the play. So that's where we will pick up on